I'm your host, Andrew Brunet, and today I've got a very special friend with me, Miss Bree Ellis. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I am great. So, to start off, tell us a little bit about you and how you came to Christ.
Oh, wow. That's a story. Um, man, how I came to Christ. Goodness. That was by the Lord, actually. I was saved when I was young, and back when I was like 10 years old, and then I kind of lost my way and got lost. And the Lord was always there, but I like stopped believing in Him, and He literally chased me around, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to put it into words, but he, actually spoke to me. The day that I got saved was a day that he sorry, that was my cat. It was the day that he spoke to me. Um, he came into my, like, bedroom one night and told me to get off the fence and to pick because I was wearing a cross but living the party life. I was addicted to alcohol and drugs and all the things, and, the Lord just said it's time to pick, and that day, actually, like, when I heard his voice in my room that night, I decided that day that I would, um, go to church, and I got baptized that same day.
Wow, so was that at GBBC or where was that at?
Yes, that's where my sister and my mom were going at the time, and I remember I'd called my mom, and I was like, "I need to know, like, where Kiara's going, I need the location, and I need to go there today, like, I need to go there," and so I went that Wednesday night for the first time.
Wow. So many may or may not know you go to Global Vision Bible Church. I hear y'all are
Mhm.
getting a new facility. That is amazing.
Yes, I am so excited. Although I am gonna miss the tent, but the Lord is moving and it's time to move.
And that is awesome. So tell us a little bit. I hear you've got a podcast going on. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's called the Dove Landing. I started that fully out of faith. I was actually unemployed because I had asked the Lord at the time to grow my faith, and little did I know what that meant. So I was unemployed for about 6 months, and God was like, "I need you to buy a microphone." And I was like, I don't have money for that. And he's like, "No, you're gonna have the money. I need you to go buy a microphone." And so I went and I bought that microphone off somebody off Facebook Marketplace, and he actually gave me the name of the podcast. Like while I was getting ready, like to take a shower, he was like the dove landing, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. And so he took me to scripture about like where the descended and landed on Jesus during the baptism, and I was like, that is such a good name. So I just started it, and honestly, I'm a big fan. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun, but it was not something I ever expected to do. That's kind of why my episodes are so chaotic because I just let the Lord, He'll wake me up and be like, go record a podcast right now.
So, what are some of your favorite topics you have covered on the podcast so far?
Favorite topics, I would have to say when I went with Georgia Brown, when I went over her testimony, and then my other one is the story of Nehemiah.
Wow. So, share with us a little bit about why you were attracted to the story of Nehemiah, if you would.
So that was actually the Lord as well. He told me to open up to Nehemiah and just to start reading. And the story of Nehemiah was so interesting to me because he had so much backlash and people trying to get him to go into the temple when he wasn't allowed to go, obviously, because that was I believe it was for the priests only. And my favorite part of it was when I read the next headliner after reading like how he was trying to get him to go into the temple, commit this great sin, was the next headliner literally says the building was completed. So he was rebuilding that wall of Jerusalem, and they did not want him to get it rebuilt. And there's a verse in there, and I'm not going to butcher. I'm not going to quote it word for word, but he says they came against me, so I kept pushing even harder. Like he began to work and just kept going, and when backlash would come up, he would just push harder and keep going and not care about what they were saying.
And that's kind of like what our generation today, needs to do. Like when
Mhm.
backlash of the enemy comes against us, even in our walk with Christ,
Mhm.
we need to keep going. I was just telling somebody a circumstance yesterday. I woke up and Facebook had restricted my sharing abilities for 6 days.
Yeah.
I mean, just out of the middle of nowhere, these types
Yeah.
of things begin to happen. And you know what? I said, you know what? We're going to ramp up on the content. We're going to bring more content to the Facebook world. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, when the enemy comes against us, the greatest thing that we can do is retaliate with the gospel.
Absolutely. He's trying to stop it, especially when he thinks you're a power force. He'll do anything to put blocks, whether it's mind blocks or just physical blocks in your life to keep you from moving forward.
And you know, sometimes though, I think, Bree, that our generation is too reliant on social media. We
I
get
agree.
that phone in our face and we want to get into the drama, we want to get into all the other stuff, and you know, we need to save it for later and get into the Bible and go do something
Yeah.
productive with our time, like feed the hungry or clothe the the lost, and
Mhm.
give them a word. Because you know what, lost people ain't gonna be on well, there are a lot of lost people on Facebook, but a lot of people don't have access to that kind of thing.
Mhm. Especially the people who really do need our help. But I also at the same time believe that if you're using your platform without the drama in a good way, that it's a beautiful way to spread the gospel because you can reach so many people, people who would never see you or meet you, you can reach them from just a simple little platform. But it is easy to start getting lost up in the scrolling and the videos and all the things.
And you know, though, the greatest thing about social media for me and for you is that we can share the light of Jesus
Mhm.
in such a dark world. And even on TikTok, get millions of plays and thousands of plays, just letting people know that, hey, you know what? Even in the midst of your chaos, at the darkest moment of your life, Jesus loves you.
Yep, absolutely. And the other fun thing is the persecution aspect of it on social media is just comments. Like, you can just block them, can delete the comments, or you can just literally turn your phone off and ignore it.
Exactly. That's what a lot of people need to do. They need to shut their phone off instead of arguing with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, turn it off. They don't care.
But some people, they just like to speak their mind, and like my mother told me when I was younger, you've always got to have the last word. They got to have
Yeah,
that
she told me
last
that
word.
too. Yeah, they do.
Because I was a talkative person and still am. So
Yep.
you start fussing with me, and I'm going to get that last word in no matter what. So,
That's how I feel. That's why I have to be very careful with what I choose to comment on, and if I choose to keep engaging with certain content, because people are trolls. They like to make people angry online.
but we know through a mutual friend, Pastor Greg Locke, we know
Mhm.
that we should save the drama for your mama and move on.
Yes, that's correct.
So you recently, just last week, got to volunteer at a youth camp. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Oh my gosh, that experience was absolutely beautiful. I'm so thankful that, the Lord allowed a way for me and my husband to do it, and as well as Sam for being such an amazing pastor. Um, so we got to have, like, little small groups. So I got to have a small group with about 5 or 6, between the ages of I think they were through 10 and the oldest was 17. Um, in my little small group, and just to have the experience to, like, teach them some of the things that God's been showing me in the Word, and, I really pressed in about their callings to them and kind of exactly what I just talked about. I told them about that story of Nehemiah as well, about how things are gonna come against you, but what God has called you to, He has qualified you for, so keep pushing and ask the Lord, like, what like, I was like, "Don't get obsessed with your calling because there comes a point to where you're idolizing it." I was like, "He'll give it to you when it's time for you to have it, and you'll know exactly what it is. There's not gonna be all these questions and all these concerns. He's just gonna say, 'This is what you're called to do. Now go and do it.'" And so he's qualifying you right now, and I told him, I was like, "Stop worrying about what it is or if you're gonna be good enough because God is the one who makes qualifications, not the people of this world, not anybody around us. It is God who chooses when it is your time."
So, was there any salvations or deliverances that took place at youth camp that will stick out to you?
Yes, there was the last day, you could feel it building, throughout the days that we were there. I was just waiting for it to pop off, so each night when we would go to chapel, I would walk around the back and just pray that when it was time for deliverance, that it would just happen smoothly, that there wouldn't be, because demons like to make a show, that the demons would just come out, like, it would just be an easy, smooth, because there were some young kids there, like, there was probably some 7 or 8-year-olds there, I believe, maybe 8. They just look really young to me, I don't know. Um, and I just didn't want any of them getting freaked out at such an early age about what it was, so I was just praying peace over everybody's minds, and, deliverance eventually did pop off, and, I actually got to help with deliverance on my sister-in-law, um, and it was a beautiful experience because 'cause she'd been waiting for that, and, it was just the atmosphere in there when the Lord came down. I got on stage and prayed, and we were just praying that the glory would fall, and it was just beautiful. You could hear it all over the room. People are crying, people are, coming face to face with God and just really getting an encounter that changed their lives, I believe.
So, when was your first encounter with deliverance?
With deliverance was actually the day that I went to Global Vision on that Sunday morning and got baptized. Pastor had said something along the lines of, "We've got deliverance tonight," and obviously I hadn't been in church. That was I was what, 21 at that time when I went to church? No, 22. And I was 22, and I had the last time I'd stepped foot in a church, I was like 11. So he was talking about casting out demons that morning, and I was like, okay, well, I guess this is what they teach now. Like, I didn't know any difference. And so when he announced that deliverance was that night, I was like, I felt like this weird, like, I need to go. Like, something was like pulling me. And I was like, okay. And I remember I told him, I was like, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go. And my joining me that night. And I got quite a few demons cast out of me. I got the spirit of lust cast out and didn't deal with it anymore. I got that spirit of alcoholism cast out and went home that night and dumped out every bottle that I had sitting in my fridge. Like, it absolutely took me for a 180, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need more of whatever it is.
And once you experience that delivering power, you're never the same. I mean,
Never.
I remember it was the Sunday night after the movie premiere. Pastor Greg had done
Mhm.
mass deliverance. And for me, I know I was delivered from autism there. I was
Mhm.
delivered from depression, anxiety, and
Mhm.
there was a list of them. But once I left, my mind was never the same. What
Yeah.
when I first got there, it was like my mind was racing 100 miles an hour. I couldn't stop. I'd think about one idea and I'd try to go do it, and then I'd jump to another idea. And
Mhm.
I wasn't doing anything complete. I wasn't completing anything. I wasn't
Yeah.
consistent. I'd go here and then I'd jump here and then I'd jump here. But when I got that deliverance, now it's just like I'm relaxed. I could care less about what goes on. And,
Yeah.
that's how God works.
Absolutely. That's how it was when Jezebel finally when I got rid of Jezebel, it was just, like, all this control left, and I was just like, "Alright, you've got the wheel, Lord. I don't even want the wheel anymore."
And that's the thing about it though. Once those controlling spirits are out of you, it's just like
Mhm.
peace.
Yeah.
It's like
It
you
is
ain't
out of
gotta
my
worry
hands,
about,
and I'm glad.
man, I'm glad we don't control our lives. I was telling somebody the other day, if we controlled our own lives, man, what a mess we would actually be in.
Um, Absolutely, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's like getting into a car and not knowing how to drive. You're gonna get down there
Yeah.
and you're just gonna start driving down the road. Nope.
You might make it a couple miles, but soon
It,
enough, you'll learn where the ditch is.
yeah, and that would do you just about as good as walking out in front of a car and praying for the car to stop right when you get to it. So like, nope.
Yep.
So what's coming up for the Dove Landing? Any new episodes coming up?
Not that I'm aware of. I think I'm kind of taking a bit of a, I don't know if sabbatical is a word. I don't know, just a pause, just a break. Life is really busy at the moment. I've got my wedding coming up and just got engaged and all the things. So, engaged and married. We're planning the wedding separately. But just all of that, and I started this new serving job again. So just really pouring into some of the girls there, and hoping that the Lord is not even hoping, praying for them, and knowing that the Lord is going to change some things in their lives there.
So the first time I met you was at Come Out in Jesus' Name, the premiere,
Mhm.
which seemed like so long ago. I need to get back up to GVBC before y'all
Yeah.
open up the new place or whenever y'all are fixing to, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, I believe it's September is when we start in the new facility.
Wow.
Mhm.
And I know you told me you were such a baby Christian then, but seeing that movie, what did
Mhm.
it do for you as a Christian?
I would say it opened up my eyes to a lot of things, because at that time, I was just working in the, kids ministry part of it. I hadn't stepped into anything bigger or into anything really yet. I just didn't know where God was taking me. And so watching the movie and getting to see the adult side of it and see, like, how deliverance really swept, and it made me feel, not that I didn't feel crazy, but it made me feel, like, less crazy because obviously I was a brand new Christian, so this whole "I had demons cast out of me" thing, like, I would tell my friends who weren't saved, and they would literally look at me like I had 4 eyeballs. And so it was cool for me to see other people who had gone through this same experience as I had. And it was cool also as well, like in down in kids ministry, when you would break off generational curses when mom and dad would be going through deliverance, the kids would be going through it down in the kids ministry with us. You could see like the physical, like generational curses and those same demons that were following the bloodline breaking off of the kids. So I would say it really helped me feel less crazy is the best way to word that.
Wow. So do you have anything else on your heart you'd like to share on our podcast today?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm just excited, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be on it.
Well, Bree, you know I love you and I'm praying for you, and I pray blessings
Thank
upon
you.
your ministry. And any way I can ever help you, you just reach out and let me know.
Will do. I love you too, friend.
All right. Thank you for coming on Fake Chats. Looking forward to the next time we can chat.